Welcome to Veterans Air, the Veterans Hour. I'm your host, Douglas B. And along with my sometimes co-host, Dangerous Dan, the bug-killing man, you can listen to us live the first Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. here on your Lone Star Community Radio station. As always, if you need to get contact us, to email us at info@VeteransAir.us, text me on my Google phone, which is 936-344-3083. I had to look up so I can remember the number. And you can also find us on our Facebook page, on this station's Facebook page, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on our website, www.VeteransAir.us, and all over the place, just like the coronavirus. This is a special edition of Veterans Air because we are not live. This is pre-recorded. I am in an undisclosed, secure location, similar to Cheyenne Mountain, where the coronavirus cannot get to us. And I am thoroughly prepared to weather the storm. I have my Diet Snapple. I have my cigarettes. I have my Purell hand sanitizer. And for those of you that are wondering where I got this, I will sell this to you. And most importantly, I have my Veterans Air discount drug card. If you need one of these, and you do, just drop me a line and I will put one in the mail for you. You don't have to sign up for anything. It just works just like GoodRx. Now today, we're going to talk about the coronavirus. And today, we're going to talk about how the veteran businessman or woman or unicorn or toaster or whatever it is that you identify with today survives economically the coronavirus. Because some of us out there, like myself, that don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, are trying to figure out how can we survive as a business. Lucky for us, I happen to know somebody who has the answers to those questions. Sitting beside me is Darlene Gregory of EMW Financial. And you may remember Darlene because she is our angel sponsor that makes Veterans Air possible. Thank you, Darlene, for that. Now, we all know that America, for all intents and purposes, is shut down unless you're in essential business. And some of you out there are essential businesses. Bars, hair salons, nail salons, pet grooming, things of that nature. You're not essential business. You have to be shut down. And I'm sure you know that already. Though restaurants are open, hospitals are open, sort of. If you show up at the emergency room and your arm is torn off and you're bleeding, you can get care. Other than that, it sucks to be you. Brother Johnny, I am so sorry. DV Tanya, yeah, they're in pain and they were scheduled for surgeries, but they can't have it because it's elective surgery. Broken back, your jaw's disintegrating, you can't eat. Yeah, that's elective surgery. But if you want to listen to more of my rants, go on over to Veterans Air on Facebook, and I'm sure you'll find a rant that suits you. But we're going to talk today to Darlene, who just happens to know some things that are fact, not her truth, not what she read in a meme on Facebook, but fact. Darlene, for our viewers that don't know you, tell us about yourself and EMW Financial.
My name is Darlene Gregory. I'm the president and CEO of EMW Financial Management.
He's my boss.
What we do is we help folks just like you weather the storm in your business and individually. I have a bunch of information today about resources available to you and your family to survive financially. We have helped hundreds of businesses with financing, special programs, you name it, because after 30 years in business, I can tell you I've been there, done that. We specialize, I'm an MBA, and my staff is very experienced in SBA loans, bridge loans, you name it. We do it 24/7, 365 days a year for businesses that are in trouble financially or want to build a building if they're not in trouble, or buy some equipment or get a line of credit. All of those things are things that EMW Financial Management does. So today, let's talk about putting cash in your hands. There's tons of assistance available.
Hang on. Before we get that,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to put cash in whose hands? The businessman or the individual?
Both. We're going to put cash in your hands individually and also for your business to continue to operate. We're all dealing with, are we essential? Are we not essential? Do we have to keep our staff on? How's our family going to eat? All of those things are forefront right now.
What's available to the individual?
To the individual, first of all, you've all heard about the stimulus. It's part of the $2 trillion CARES Act bill that just passed this week in Congress. What that means is you are going to get, if you make less than $75,000 a year, $1,200 for you. Now let's talk about your family. What's going to happen there? If you're married, and let's say you're on SSI and VA disability, and your wife makes $35,000 a year, you both are under $75,000 a year. So each of you is going to get $1,200 in the next week or two deposited to your bank account or sent in a check. You are also going to get $500 per child you have that lives with you. A child is defined as under 18. This does not include your 32-something son that's living in the basement, not working, and you're supporting him. You're not getting $500 for him.
Now, this is fact. This is
Absolute fact. Absolute fact.
Now, I heard that if you filed your taxes and you took direct deposit, that the funds will show up sometime on or after April 16th for direct deposits. Is that correct?
That's correct. If you did not file a tax return because the only income you have is VA disability or Social Security disability, you're going to get a check. Okay. And that check's going to come in the mail. God knows how long it'll take to get here, but it's coming. If you receive Form SSA 1099 each year, you're going to get a check.
Even if he's not working, so he didn't make any money, so he didn't file any income tax.
That's right. What the government is doing is first, of course, going through all the tax returns to see who made under $75,000. And they're going to pay those with direct deposit if you file electronically. Most of us do. Our CPAs file, or we go to Tax Act, or we go to whatever form, whatever electronic form you use. However, if you do not file and you are still receiving Form SSA 1099 from the federal government, they're going to pay you with the address to which they send that form.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to tell you, after years of working with the federal government, if you don't get a check by April 16th, don't panic. Don't wait online forever trying to get someone to help you. Okay, just be patient. Here's what happens when our Congress puts bills together that have to be executed. They're really great at the big picture. They're really lousy at having the resources to execute the big picture. So please just be patient.
Okay, we're veterans. We know all about hurry up and wait. But some relief is coming for most of us out there. I heard, and I've seen this in writing, but I'm not sure that it's true, that Texas business owners and their employees, and sometimes even contract labor that they have, that they can collect unemployment.
Yes, for up to 4 months.
What's the deal?
Okay, so here's the deal. If you were forced to close or due to a stay-at-home or shelter-in-place government order and your business was deemed as an essential business, you may be eligible for unemployment. If you are not an essential business, you still may be eligible for unemployment. If you lay off employees, they're eligible for unemployment. Contract labor, I haven't been able to get a credible source in writing that declares that in Texas. So what I would recommend is you apply what your employees, and your contract labor that you had to lay off. Worst case scenario, TWC says, no, you can't get it. But if they say yes, you're getting up to $400 a week for the next 4 months.
Hang on, I'm sure they understand this. I'm a Texas business owner,
Mm-hmm.
and I was forced to close.
Mm-hmm.
I pay a payroll tax for my employees,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't necessarily do that for me. It's, owner contribution, distribution, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I can collect unemployment.
Yes. You have to apply, and when you're a business owner that just takes cash out of your business and doesn't pay your payroll tax, it's a little more difficult to get it. Typically, they'll ask you for tax returns, business and personal tax returns.
Well, we all have that because we all called Stephen from Accounting Wise. Remember I said to do that a couple of months ago? We all did that, right?
So make sure, if you didn't file 2019 taxes, they'll work with your 2018 taxes. So will the SBA.
That's amazing. Now, here's an off the wall question. Now, Darlene gave me a whole bunch of questions to ask her with the answers, and if you're really nice to me, I will post them along with this video. But here's a question that's not on the list.
Okay.
So I had to lay off all of my employees, and my business is closed because
Yep.
I'm not essential.
Yep.
So they're all out there, they're collecting unemployment.
Yep.
I still have to pay unemployment. How am I going to do that if my business is closed?
Well, if you don't have, here's how unemployment works, okay? They go back the last several quarters and use the money that you've already paid into unemployment to pay your people. If you didn't pay in enough, it doesn't matter. It's predicated by what your employee's salary was. The maximum somebody can get, salary or hourly or whatever, however you pay them, okay? If you've contributed for your employees, the funds are available. An employee has to work so many weeks or quarters to be able to collect anyway. They're waiving that, is what I hear. I don't know if it's actual fact. It hasn't been disseminated yet by TWC.
I want to talk about TWC for just a second because I'm getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages from people that are affected by Corona, and they're attempting to go file for unemployment, and they can't get onto the website. They get halfway through, the website crashes. What they're putting out on the media isn't what Texas Workforce is saying. And I want to tell you this. Texas Workforce, we know that they're not the fastest rabbit in the herd. So you have to give them some time. And I want you to think that everybody in Texas here is jumping on that website. And I can bet you that they don't have the bandwidth needed to supply all the answers and all the forms that are being filled out and yada, yada. I don't want you to get discouraged. I don't want you to say, well, I didn't see anything on it by Texas Workforce. I want you to go and fill out the form. If that means that you have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, jump on your computer and fill out the form, I want you to, because of this one simple fact. Your unemployment is based on when you file. When they finally figure out how they're going to do everything, would you not want your application to be first on the top of that pile? I do. So it behooves you, a word for today, behooves you to go ahead and just keep trying to get on the Texas Workforce and file for your unemployment. Eventually, you'll get through. This has been a service announcement from Veterans Air. All right, let's move on. We're already at 14 minutes. That's fantastic. What should business owners do first to save their incomes and businesses? Now, there's a factual answer for this, and then there's the answer that I'm doing. I'm taking all my cash and I'm putting it underneath the mattress. What should they really do?
The first thing you do is call all your creditors and ask for deferment. There are several, and I've come across several in the process of trying to help
Wait. What's a deferment?
Deferment means you don't have to make a payment for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whether it be a business account or a personal account. Okay? So let's talk about seeking out deferments and what it means, which is you get an extension on making a payment on your credit cards, lines of credit, business and personal mortgages, car payments, and more. This will buy you time and keep cash in your pocket to operate and feed yourselves while you're experiencing hardship. These are the following vendors that I know are giving extensions. Okay, United Healthcare. If you provide for your people health insurance, or you have a private United Healthcare plan, that your payments are deferred for 30 days. But what that means is if they defer you for April, in May, you're going to have to make 2 payments, but at least buy you some time. Toyota, personal or professional or corporate cars, deferred for 30 days. I'm sorry, for 60 days. Home mortgage companies, by law, they must defer your payment for 90 days. Here's what they do generally, okay? They defer your payment for 90 days, they put it on the back end of your loan. So you're going to be paying that mortgage off 3 months later than you thought.
Can I do an interjection and say, what is forbearance when we're dealing with these mortgage companies?
Forbearance is, and some of these mortgage companies know they're not allowed to do it by law, but they're trying to do it, okay? Forbearance is that, okay, well, if you don't pay your mortgage payment and you can't pay it the following month, we're going to throw you into foreclosure. They can't do it. It's illegal. Don't let them do it to you.
For the next 90 days, by federal law, by the CARE Act, they cannot foreclose or evict you. That is the federal law. Whatever Texas says or whatever is on the books, that's on hold. Right now, no foreclosures and no evictions for the next 90 days. I highly urge every single person out there to go ahead and contact their individual mortgage company and see if they can't do a deferment, which just puts that loan, the 3 months, on the back side. So it'd take you 3 more months to pay off your loan. And yeah, there's going to be a little bit more interest on it. But so what? You have 3 months worth of mortgage payments that you now have cash in hand.
If you're like me, I live on the water. So
don't tell them where we are. This is a secure, undisclosed location.
So back in 2008, when the mortgage, just before the real estate market crashed, I borrowed money, equity from my home through Wells Fargo, all of our heroes, I'm sure, through Wells Fargo. And they gave me an incredibly horrible rate, even though I have an incredibly high credit score. But it was cheaper to borrow money from the equity in my home to buy the commercial building I wanted to buy than to borrow it commercially from the bank for the down payment. I can tell you that my mortgage payment is almost $2,000 a month. Okay, does not include taxes or insurance. Having $6,000 in my pocket if I was struggling through a deferral of mortgage payments to the back end, $6,000 can go a long way to pay somebody or pay a supplier or whatever you have to do to keep operating.
I want to talk about cash in hand. As a small business owner myself, cash in hand is king, and it's even more important now than it was 2 weeks ago. If you go to the bank, your bank may not be open. The only thing that may be open is a drive-through or a ATM. You can still get at your money, but with ATM, you can get $200 a day. At a drive-through, it may have a cap on it. I know my bank does, and I know Wells Fargo does, of how much you can withdraw at the drive-through. Cash in hand is king. So if you can get the deferment and it works for you financially, go ahead and do it. Because you know what? If you have the cash in hand, if you don't use it, when this crisis is over, you can give it back. No harm, no foul.
Exactly. Landlords. Let's talk about landlords. Everybody's panicking because many businesses lease their facility or they lease their home. Business owners lease their home. Landlords can't evict you for 90 days. They can't. Part of the CARES Act. Banks. Let's talk about your banks. Lots of you have mortgages with the banks. And I'm not talking about personal mortgages. I'm talking about mortgages that are on buildings that you own or facilities that you own. Plains Capital is offering its business customers interest-only payments on lines of credit, credit cards, and business mortgages. BBVA Compass, if you bank with them, is offering 90-day deferments on credit cards and lines of credit. That means you don't have to make a payment. American Express, personal and business, is offering 30-day deferments on credit cards. And if you can't make the payment in 30 days, you can call in again and they'll extend you another 30.
Every business owner I know uses American Express.
We have 3 of them, 3 different cards for
Yes.
business, and it's challenging. I got to tell you.
I think you're out of order. I think your next one is.
Oh, I probably am out of order. I was doing this at 10 o'clock last night.
There we go.
All right. Sorry, I have so much information to give you. I had to write it all down.
Yeah, we might be longer than an hour, or maybe not, but stay with us.
Discovery is offering 60-day deferments. Other credit card companies and banks are working on a plan for deferments. Keep calling or checking their websites for information. I encourage you to use the ability to defer payments to keep your business open and cash strong.
Let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an essential business, so I have to stay open. But I may not have enough business coming in to keep my staff on. Is there any benefits as a business owner to keeping your employees on?
Yes, there are. And let me tell you, I teach a class at the Small Business Development Center, and I teach people how to be successful. So let me tell you the order in which you should pay things. Okay. 1, you always pay the IRS first. 2, you pay your sales tax next. 3,
no deferments on that, I'm assuming.
No, there's no deferments, except for that you don't have to file your tax returns now until July 15th, your individual tax returns or business tax returns.
Stephen, are you listening? That means I'm still not got my stuff to you.
Okay. LLCs generally have to file on the last day to file is October 15th. So if you're an LLC, you still have till October 15th. So there are issues with and benefits. Oh, I'm sorry. And the last 2 people you need to pay are your CPA, okay, and your attorney. You know why? Those 2 guys or gals are going to keep you out of trouble with the first 2, the IRS and sales tax.
You need to pay your web hoster and email provider.
That too. You got to have a way to communicate.
I'm a mean person. I will shut you off.
You have to have a way to communicate. Okay, so you pay your telephones and of course your web hosting and your email, because frankly, many of us have to work from home. Okay, because although we are considered essential. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so if you keep your employees employed by keeping your cash, okay, under the CARES Act, which is, of course, the $2 trillion bill that passed in Congress this week, if you keep your employees employed through the crisis, you will receive payroll tax credits. That means that you paid a bunch of payroll tax, right? At the end of the year, you're going to get a tax credit for your business, which means that you're not going to have to pay as much corporate tax or any other taxes you have to pay. And the cost of the employer, and you'll be reimbursed or credited for the employer's cost of the health insurance for the employees. I've heard it's going to be reimbursed. That would be wonderful, right? Which brings us to United Healthcare and Humana and all those wonderful guys that we pay a boatload of money to every single month for our employees. Okay, because you're either having them pay some of it or you're paying all of it like me. Bunches of money. So if we get some credits for that on our tax return and or get reimbursed for it through the CARES Act because we kept our employees on. That's a win-win.
My question now becomes, I'm still in business. I'm keeping my people employed, but I still have a financial hardship. I need cash. What can I do?
Okay. There are many, many methods. You've all heard about the SBA's EDIL or disaster loan. Okay. I can tell you I have 15 of them sitting on my desk right now. There have been some changes since the last disaster I applied everybody for, which was Hurricane Harvey. I did 30 of those loans. All of them were approved, but the longest one took 7 months to get approved. Okay, so what do you do in the meantime? Where are you going to get money for your business? If you have a line of credit with your bank, call your officer and ask them to extend it. SBA offers bridge loans, okay? A bridge loan is a loan that you can borrow up to $25,000 till you get approved for the disaster loan. It's an SBA loan. Go to your bank, ask them if they write it. There's also 2 online loans, a Community Express loan if you're not a veteran, or a veterans loan. Up to $25,000, no documentation required. You apply online, they give you an instant answer. There's for businessmen and veterans. There's 2 different loans. They're the same amount, same criteria. No documentation. Got to have a decent credit score, folks. Okay? You got to pay your mortgage on time, and you got to pay your Visa card on time. That's about the only criteria. We fill it out online, get an instant answer.
Well, I'm a veteran and I'm a business owner. Which one should I apply for?
You should apply for the veterans one.
Why?
Because it's easier to qualify. Okay? So if you're a veteran, you apply for the veterans loan. Okay? It's up to $25,000. You apply online, instant approval or disapproval. So you'll know immediately whether you qualify for it. If you qualify, the SBA will drop that $25,000 in your bank account, less a $450 application fee. They don't take the fee unless they fund you, and they take it out of the proceeds of the loan. So it doesn't cost you anything, really, because they're taking it out of the loan. Now, the deal with these little Community Express and Veterans Express loans is the interest is higher than a EDIL loan or disaster loan. They generally run prime plus 4. Now, what does prime plus 4 mean? It's the prime rate plus 4 interest points. So if the prime rate is 3.25 today, when you get approved for the loan, your loan is going to cost you, in interest, is going to cost you 7.25%. Still cheap.
Still, that's cheaper than borrowing from a credit card.
Absolutely. Now, you got 10 years to pay it back.
Wow.
And for the highest amount, $25,000, the cost of it a month is about $200. You can prepay it off if you like. When you get your EDIL loan, I'm not saying you should, but maybe you want to get rid of the little loan while you're at it.
Well, that is immediate help. At least this is what I'm thinking as a veteran business owner. I mean, I can get $25,000. I can stretch $25,000 from my payroll for a while.
And you'll get it in 10 days. It's an automatic debit. Before you get the letter from them that tells you all the different criteria of the loan, blah, 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 the money will already be in your account. Because they're slow at getting correspondence out, but really fast at dumping the money in your account. 10 days.
I gotta say, I have done one of these loans years in the past, and it was a painless process. It really was. And it was, like I said, like you said, 10 days later, I had the money showed up in my bank account. I didn't even know I was approved. I got money in there. I had to call the SBA and go, why did you send me money?
So that's a little easy loan. There are also what they call bridge loans, which bridges the gap between getting approved for a disaster loan, because you know how long it takes to apply. I got to tell you, SBA disaster loans, hours to fill out the application, and it's complicated. So if you don't have someone helping you, you should call me.
So I want to make sure I understand. An express loan is pretty simple form online.
Yep.
And that's up to $25,000.
Right.
But if I need more than $25,000, or I have an economic loss because of this, whatever the case may be, and I need more than $25,000, I can still apply for a disaster loan like we did for Harvey.
Yes.
These things are very complex.
They are not easy. And I can tell you right now, because it is open to the entire United States, the SBA's disaster loan, you're going to get kicked off. You're going to wait forever to get in. And if you don't have all your paperwork in front of you, you got to save it, your application, and go back to it. And you might not get in for another day or two.
Save often, be happy.
So here's what we're doing, EMW is doing. We're working all day, not just on loans, but of course on marketing, advertising, web updates for people that are still in business and operating and need to let their customers know what's going on with their business. But we're also working nights because it's easier to get online at night.
Now, I've heard in the past that you cannot have somebody help you fill out these SBA loans.
Yes, you can. Now you can do it. 2 years ago, you could have somebody help you, but you couldn't pay them. Now,
fact?
2 years ago, yes, it's right on the application. It asks you who helped you complete it and how much you're paying them. Okay.
And you're accepting calls from people that need help.
Yes, of course.
And how do they contact you?
361-904-0044 or dgregory@emwfinance.com. Send me an email because I'll respond to you and tell you all the documents I need to have in order to complete this for you. And there's a lot of them. You need 2 years worth of personal and professional tax returns. If you didn't do 2019, you got to give me 2017 and 2018. You need a financial statement for your business. That's a profit and loss and a balance sheet.
And some of y'all don't know how to do a P&L.
Right. And I need those documents for year-end 2019 and year-to-date. I need you to sign Form 4506T for the business and for yourself personally. It's on the irs.gov website.
I will post those links for you. A question on those forms. So I pick up the phone, I call you, I actually get through to you.
Yes.
And you tell me all the things that I need to have. You listen to my story and you say, okay, you need to go get a disaster loan or a veterans loan or a bridge loan. You're going to tell me where I can get these forms, or you have these forms and you're going to email them to me, or
I'll tell you, I'll send you the links
Outstanding.
on where you can get them. Okay. Now I want to tell you the SBA disaster loan is quite complex and the site is very slow. I started doing a loan the other night at 8 o'clock. I got past 2 sections of it by 3 a.m. You know why? Because you put some information in and then it updates itself. And it rolls. You know how you see the little round circle in the corner of your left-hand corner of your screen while they're waiting to load it, and it says waiting for on the bottom. It says waiting for SBA or whatever it says on the bottom. This can go on for 20 minutes. The most aggravating part was you check the box, check the little circle. Have you ever had a bankruptcy? Have you ever been arrested? Every time you check the little box, it updates and updates and updates and updates.
Obviously, they didn't hire me to figure out how to submit forms.
And during the day, you may be, while you're doing the very first section, you can't save it. The site will crash and you got to start all over again.
I'm going to give you a little computer tip, free computer tip for those of you that are using Windows 10. Press the Windows key, the Shift key, and the S key, and this will bring up the snippet tool. And what you do with that snippet tool is you outline the form and with your mouse, and that will save it. It'll do a screen capture. Remember the old screen captures? That's what it does. It's called the snippet tool. That's the Windows key, the Shift key, and the S key. They are going to be your friends.
Let me tell you how long it takes you to get a disaster loan. I happen to be on FEMA's National Board of Emergency Operations, okay, for Texas. Every morning and afternoon, we have, during a crisis or a disaster, and this is the national board, okay? People like FedEx's CEO, AT&T's CEO, and me are on this call. So we talked about the length of time to process an SBA disaster loan. SBA says 7 to 45 days.
Wow.
So if you, and that assumes the first time you do the application and you have all the documents you have to upload, and I can tell you, you're not going to get it done in one day. It just, if you've never done it before, it's complicated, it's onerous. You don't even know what half their terms mean. And that's why you call me and you say, hey, what does this mean? Or can you help me? And yes, of course we will.
I can call you and go, what does this mean? And you'll tell me.
Yes, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what it means. Okay. Look, small business owners aren't accountants. Small business owners have accountants or they have a bookkeeper. You know, a lot of them don't even have a profit and loss statement. They're keeping their books in spreadsheets or a ledger. It's important to have someone do a P&L for you and a balance sheet.
If I don't have those, MW Financial can reconstruct those?
We can, but it'll take much longer for us to reconstruct them if we have a lot of you asking us to do it. I would recommend they call the person you recommended, Stephen is his name? Stephen, to help you with that, or any CPA.
Stephen Vogel, Accounting Wise Guy. We had him on 2 months ago. You can find him on our archives page. Go look him up. Go on the Facebook for Accounting Wise Guy. Tell Stephen, Veterans Air told you to call. He'll treat you right. He's a fellow veteran. All right, he's Air Force, so he's like kind of a veteran. But he's good. He really is. He really is.
So let's talk about what can you expect with a COVID loan. I'm calling them the COVID loans. They're really called disaster loans. Okay. They carry an interest rate of 3.75% with a 30-year term.
I'll take that.
And no prepayment penalty. You don't need to start making payments for a whole year. So when they fund you, well, the day they approve you, they start charging interest, okay? But you don't have to pay them for a year. They'll send you a notice when you have to start paying. They'll send you a bill every month, okay? It's overwhelmed with traffic, but this is a great loan if you need to recover. A lot of you came to me after the hurricane, and we wrote literally $20 million worth of SBA loans for people, for businesses. All of them were approved but one, because the guy neglected to tell me he had an IRS lien. If you have an IRS lien, don't bother going through the exercise because they're not going to fund you. Okay, they're not. That's why I told you, pay the IRS, pay your state sales tax, pay your CPA, and pay your attorney first. Then communications, then yourself so that your family can eat, then your employees. I know that sounds harsh because I'm the biggest bleeding heart in the world. I'll stop taking a paycheck so I can pay my people. I wouldn't recommend you do that.
Been there, done that.
Right. So then what happens is you lose your house, your stress level goes up stratospherically, and you're not a great boss. So pay yourself first, okay? You don't have to take your full paycheck. If you can live without it, without your full paycheck to keep going, great. But make sure you pay your mortgage. Make sure you pay your car payments, your individual expenses. Because if you wreck your personal credit and your business fails, guess what? You are SOL.
Let me ask this question. Not SBA. Let's assume for a second that I do have all my ducks in a row. And the SBA is just not an option for me for whatever form. It's just not an option for me. Is there any other sources of funds out there?
Oh my goodness, there's so many sources of funds. We have 180 lenders across the nation, all kinds of lenders that will work with people. But first of all, let's talk about factoring. If you're still in business, let's say you're a service business and you're a CPA, and you bill, or an attorney, and you bill your client every month. As long as you have invoices that you can bill someone, you can work with a factor.
What's a factor?
A factor is a guy / lending company that will lend to you and the fees are very, very minimal. Okay, here's what happens. You send your customer a bill on a Tuesday. You send the same copy of that bill to your factor. Your factor that day or the next day advances you 80% of the value of that bill. So let me give you an example. EMW bills our steakhouse. Okay, we bill them. If we need that cash immediately, we can factor it. And that very day that I bill them, now keep in mind, ours hasn't paid yet, okay? The factor's going to send me 80%.
And then when the steak company pays you, you just pay him back the 80% plus the fee?
No, here's how this works. When we notify the steakhouse that we are factoring and to send their payment to this PO box. It goes to the factor. The factor's already given us 80%. He's holding 20%. When that bill gets paid, he takes his fee, which is somewhere usually between 2 and 5% out of the 20% that he's holding, and he gives you back the 20%.
That's a deal.
That's right.
That's a real good deal, especially if you have a lot of these clients and they're paying month to month to month. But some of them are not as proactive as we'd like them to be, and their invoices are 30, 45, 60 days late consistently. Factoring would give me a chance to have that money in hand that I can use instead of waiting for 60, 80, 90 days to get
That's
paid
right.
from my
That's
client.
right. And the factor's fee goes up the longer your client takes to pay. Generally, let's say the client pays within 35 days. The fee is going to be like 2%.
I can handle 2%.
You know, if the client takes 90 days, it's going to be probably 5 to 7%.
Yeah, I can even handle that.
But it gives you cash flow so that you can manage your billing, manage paying your employees. We work with a factor right here in Houston and one in the Valley, and another one that is national that handles clients for us all over the world.
And remember what Steven said from Wise Guys. He said, there's 2 things that you need as a business owner to make sure you make it through anything financially. You need to know your P&L, and you need to know what your cash flow is. You need to know those 2 things because everybody works within the cash flow. Don't let anybody fool you. Everybody works within the cash flow.
And in a crisis like this, the first thing you're going to spend is your capital reserve. That's money you've saved in case of an emergency.
I've saved for an emergency.
Yeah. So, maybe you have $5,000 and that's all you've got to keep you going until the next client pays you or you're allowed to be open. Okay. You've used that. You've got to look at other alternatives. Go to your commercial bank. If you've never had a line of credit, they may give you a line of credit. And what secures that line of credit? Well, generally it's your receivables or your projected cash flow if you're a retailer or a restaurant or what have you. Your bank is your first resource. And then there are other types of loans you can get. If you do a lot of credit card business, there are lenders that will lend you a percentage of your average monthly credit card sales.
Explain this.
Okay, so let's say you do $300 a day in credit cards, okay? And all month long you do $2,500 a month in credit card sales. They will lend you, let's say $2,000 in cash and then collect as you process future credit cards for the value of those, what they lent you every week until it's paid off.
So this is predicated on your batch processing, guys.
Right.
When you take the credit cards get processed, depending on who you're working with, either immediately, the end of the day, at the end of the billing week, whatever the case may be, that's your batch process. And this is predicated on that. If you don't know what your batch process is, you better go talk to your merchant credit account and find out.
Because this is really easy to get. These types of lenders are really easy to get. The interest isn't cheap, I'm going to tell you. Last but not least, well, not really last but not least, but here's another alternative. Let's say you have a credit card that's 18% interest and you've deferred it. Well, why wouldn't you transfer that balance to a 0% interest card? Transfer it to a 0% interest card. Usually the fee to do that's about 3% of the balance. But if you don't have to pay 0%, if you don't have to pay any interest for 18 months, guess what? You're keeping a lot more of your money.
Let me tell you this. It makes a big difference in your credit score when you do these things, because you may be maxed out on a particular card, and then you transfer that to a zero interest that still has some credit limit left on it. That ups your credit score. You need to be paying attention to these things as a business owner and as an individual. You need to be paying attention to this.
Now, look, it's tempting to just whip that card out to pay for supplies or pay whatever you have, pay whatever bill you can pay for it while you're in a crisis. Try not to do that, okay? Keep your utilization on your credit cards at less than 30%, and you will have a great credit score. And the better your credit score, the more credit cards are going to give you lower rates, even when there's not a crisis, and higher limits. Okay? But I want to make sure that everybody knows what a bank revolving line of credit is. Okay, the bank secures this line of credit through your receivables. That means that if you default, they're taking all your cash, buddy. But you have a year to revolve it. So here's what happens. You are a contractor. You're building a house for somebody. You need $10,000 to start this job to buy material and pay your first week's payroll. Okay? You go to the bank, you take $10,000 out of your line of credit. The day you take it out, interest starts accruing. However, you can use that line of credit for a year if you needed to, okay? So what you do is when you get the line of credit, when you take the $10,000 out, you use it. 60 days later, 90 days later, whatever it is, your customer, your homeowner pays you. You put it right back in the bank and then the interest stops. And guess what? That $10,000 is available to use again. Most people have lines of credit from business owners from $50,000 to $500,000. I did 2 weeks ago. I did a $350,000 line of credit for a customer whose annual sales were $1 million.
Now, let me say this. If you're out there and you're listening to me and you've done business with me, you know that I work on a third, a third, and a third. Third to start, third on beta, third when it's complete. And this is why it's a third, a third, a third. Because I need to use my line of credit to start the project. And once you pay me my third, I'm going to pay back my line of credit. So this way, I'm making sure that I'm living in that cash flow and that I have control over my cash flow.
Because believe me, during times like this, money goes out faster than you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't even recognize it because you panicked. Listen.
I spent $2,400 on toilet paper last week.
Oh, my God. I can tell you this. We're going to help you survive, okay? We do not want to see you go out of business. We don't, and we won't let you if it's within our power to give you assistance to help you. I want to talk about private and angel investors. I get this question all the freaking time.
My angel investor. No, you can't have her. She's mine. Back off.
Okay, what's an angel investor? An angel investor says, this business has a lot of potential. I'm going to become an investor in it. Or I'm going to lend them money at a low rate, and they're going to pay me back as they grow. Okay, that's an angel investor. There are also private investors, individuals who invest in businesses or lend money to businesses who can't otherwise get funded because they're too new. They're 6 months old. Let me tell you something. It's really difficult for get somebody to lend to you when your business is 6 months old, and then you're in a crisis on top of it because they don't know if you're going to be successful. This is where it's imperative that you have a great business plan. Okay, what's a business plan? Okay, everybody says, I don't know how to write a business plan. Well, if you contact me, I will give you a list of documents that you need to have in your business plan and help you write your executive summary and projections, okay? Because an investor wants to see how much do you project you're going to spend, how much are you going to earn.
Well, that's fine, but where do I find these angel investors?
Okay, you can Google online. It's hard to find them. Generally, you need a referral. So let us know, and we have a whole bunch of them that have various different interests, and what those interests are called are footprints, okay? That is, what type of business where you, blah, blah, blah. What type of interest are you, type of business are you, and what is your potential for success?
So Dan and I are hopefully opening a company this year, and it's a agricultural company, and we're calling it, wait for it, dude, it's organic. You could find investors for this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Secondly, if you're an agricultural business, okay, let's say you grow and sell vegetables. We have a customer like that that grows and sells vegetables at the farmer's market. Okay. He is eligible for agricultural loans through the federal government, which are totally different than SBA loans. So we've worked with just about every kind of business, every kind of age of business to try to help them get to the next level. And as a final note, I want to say one thing to y'all. Do not stop advertising right now. You need
Why?
Because you want to get every client you can get. And guess what? Ratings on TV right now are up 20%. 20% because everybody's home watching TV. Okay? So you need to continue to advertise because you need to keep your top of mind awareness and your loyal clientele. If you're not advertising, you're putting duct tape over the mouth of your business. It has no voice.
Well, I am continuing advertising, and here's why. I know that I'm going to be the last man standing. When this is all over, Veterans Air is going to be here. And I want to get the market share of all the other talk radio stations, all the other talk radio shows. I want to have a bigger market share. So I'm investing in my marketing now. That's going to pay me back 3-4 months down the road. Because listen to me, all seriousness, all joking aside, listen to me. This is America. And above that, being Americans, you're also Texans. Do you think that you're not going to survive? Do you think that we're going away? Do you think that at the end of the day, America's not going to be America? It's going to be. I want you to be there standing beside me when this is all over. When it's all over, you get kicked back on the bonfire, drink some cold ones, roast some squirrels on the sticks, and we'll be good to go. And everybody else that didn't plan, that didn't think about when this is going to end, they'll be standing on the outside saying, "Can we have a marshmallow?" Be there with me.
Can I interrupt for a second? Listen to me, folks. I've been through tons of disasters and financial setbacks in my 30 years in business. And he who survives is the person that says, I have a goal. I'm not going to react. I'm going to be proactive. What am I going to be doing in 3 months instead of struggling to come back from this coronavirus disaster? I'm going to be growing. And so I'm going to change the way I do business for the short term and learn some things about what my customers want and what they need. So if I can help you in any way, please call EMW and ask for me, Darlene Gregory, at 361-904-0044, or email me, which is always better, so I can get back to you soon, dgregory@emwfinance.com. We have offices in Houston, the Midwest, and Corpus Christi. So just give me a call personally, and I will either handle you myself, depending on the direness of your situation, or I will hand you off to one of my folks that is very, very experienced in filing for loans, finding you financing, helping you with your marketing.
And that's not me, by the way.
And folks, just know you're stronger than you think, and you're braver than you believe. Let's do it.
Well, honey, thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for talking to the veterans out there, the business owners, and giving them some avenues to look at, some way to weather the storm that we're in. It's very, very important that we have somebody that we can go to. And seriously, thank you for, in in advance for taking the amounts of calls that you're going to get from us. And if anything else comes up, if you hear of anything, because I realize that this situation is like the battlefield, it's very fluid.
Yes, it is.
As things change, don't hesitate to contact us. We'll get you back on the air, even remotely, even if it's not a secure, undisclosed location. We can do anything remotely.
I can do this from my office, you know.
Yeah, you can, but you know, I like the secure, undisclosed location, similar to Mount Cheyenne.
Well, I do want to just say this. I hope I've given you some real hope today and brightened your spirits just a little bit. You're not going to fail, not on my watch. So just so you know, we're on your side. And if you have questions, and as I get confirmation on how the CARE Act provisions for veterans and other business owners are going to be rolled out, I will absolutely let you know. Right now, everything is nebulous and fluid. We just have the broad idea on a piece of paper generated by our erstwhile Congress. The real people that are going to execute the success of this bill is you and me.
Well, you heard it here first on Veterans Air, and keep checking back Veterans Air Facebook page or www.VeteransAir.us, and I'll continue to update as I find information. That about wraps it up for this particular edition of Veterans Air. But we'll be back maybe next month. We'll do another podcast somewhere along the line, maybe mid-month, or as the situation changes. We're going to leave today, and as we do, as always, I want you to listen to the song. I want you to think about its meaning. It's Strong by Sailor Jerry. We've done it numerous times, and you know what? We are strong. I want you to think about this and think about our brothers and sisters in uniform that are today standing in harm's way, doing what they do to protect the liberties for you and me. If you are wearing the uniform today and you can hear my voice, I want to tell you, I am proud of you. I want to tell you thank you. And until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant. This is Veterans Air.